I don't know where you live, but in Chicago, the way things roll around here is that at 1 hour of the day, you could be out in your flip-flops and short sleeve t-shirt. And at the next minute of the day, you could be sitting inside with your winter slippers on and your big, warm, cozy sweatshirt. I'm freezing, but I live in Chicago, so I can't complain. I have the honor of and privilege of being the recipient of so many personal conversations and stories, and I don't take them lightly. One of the things that has come up to me time and time and time again when I ask people, what race are you open to? Well, we're open to all races, but ... And I often get asked the question of how can you guys help us figure out what we should be open to or not? And so I just wanted to touch upon, listen, when you're asked about what criteria you are open to when you apply to adoption agencies, first of all, you're asked a million different questions about what you're open to and what you're not open to when it comes to race, when it comes to exposures, drug exposure, alcohol exposure, when it comes to medical and mental health, you're asked to make a lot of decisions that are not easy decisions to make. So today, I just want to dig at least on the surface level, although nothing about adopting is ever just on the surface level, but I just want to touch upon how to make the decision about being open to transracial adoption. Just some of the things to consider. First of all, know that whatever you decide, we always tell our clients, when you're going into the adoption process, have an open heart and have an open mind, because what you are thinking today and what you're feeling like you're open to today may be different tomorrow, may be different 2 months down the road as you continue to learn. And you have to be open to learning in this process. We are only willing to work with those people who have an open heart and have an open mind, because you just have to be in the world of adoption, no matter what your decisions are. All right, that's my little rant. So let's go back to being open to a transracial adoption or not. So my point in saying be open and things may change is that you may fill out an application and say that you are open to Caucasian only. And as you continue to learn and do more research, decide to open that up a little bit. And vice versa. You may go in saying, well, we are open to all races. And then as you learn about how complicated that could be, maybe you decide to close that up a little bit. First of all, know that. And it can be on a case-by-case basis. So the one thing you are in control of is, as you are given situations to consider with a whole lot of information, you have control over saying, yes, we are comfortable presenting, or no, we are not. And nobody should be judging you for those decisions. Now, I will say, to give some feedback to your agency about why or why not could be very important information for that agency to know, so that they know how to present you best next time. And again, if you change your mind about things in the middle, be open and honest with the team around you, your agency, your consultant, your social workers, so that we can all be supportive of you wherever you are. So know that you have control over what you're comfortable with and what you're not, and that you can change your mind. Now let's go a little bit deeper. As you're considering whether or not, you being open and having no problem with people of any races, that's really not the point, because it goes much deeper than that. Consider a couple things. If you are open to adopting a child of another race than yours, Will your child have mirrors? Are there people in your neighborhood, in your community, in the schools, in your outlying community, if not in your particular neighborhood, that will mirror your child, that will look like your child? That's what we mean by mirrors. Are there people of the same race as your child who you may bring into your family? It's really important for your child to see, to look around and to see and feel like they have other people around them that look like them. If it's not in your particular neighborhood, that could be okay, as long as you can go places and do things in your life with your child to find those mirrors. So considering mirrors. Also, ask yourself, you have to ask yourself a whole lot of hard questions, but ask yourself, are we willing to do whatever we have to in order to give our child the best opportunities in life given their identity? It's a big responsibility. It really is. It's not an easy thing to do. But you have to know about yourself as we continue to learn. Are we willing to do what it takes for our child to be comfortable in his skin, to get the most out of life that they can? And make sure that whatever you choose to do that may be different from your norm today, that your child doesn't get the message that, oh, we are doing this for you. Because there's no better way to ostracize somebody than to say, oh, well, our family wasn't like this before, but because of you, we have to do it this way. No. You have to be comfortable to take things on as a family unit and say, this is what our family does. This is how our family works. So being willing to go outside your comfort zone, go outside of what's normal for you today before you adopt, and saying to yourself, are we willing? Maybe you don't even know what that is right now, but being open to learning what that is as you go. And by the way, it never ends. That education never ends. And saying, are we willing to do whatever it takes for our child? Okay. So having mirrors, are you willing to do whatever it takes? Family support or no family support? How are you willing to handle that? So do you feel like you need to have the conversations with your family and sit down around a table and have some hard conversations together before you make your decisions? Do you just need to have conviction in yourself and your own decisions and let your family know what you're going to do? Or you probably don't want to surprise anybody. But some families are supportive and open to anybody in any situation and are also open to learning as well. And there's probably an education piece that goes along with that, because you'll probably have to educate your family as well. And that goes with whatever race of a child that you adopt. There is a big learning curve and a lot of education around adoption in so many areas that your family probably don't get, that you will be immersed in or should immerse yourself in. I don't like using should, but you know, it's a good thing that you will have to educate your family about. So what if your family is not supportive of you adopting a child of another race? Are you somebody that's going to say, all right, well then, unfortunately, we just can't have you in our lives anymore, and kind of make that hard line in the sand and hope they might come around? Or do you feel like you need to then change your mind as far as what you're open to? Whatever answer you choose is okay. It is such a personal decision, but know that family will probably have an opinion or a thought or a feeling about that. All right, next. And this is also along the lines of, are you willing to do whatever it takes for your child? Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to research? Are you willing to teach? Are you willing to find your child the right mentors or teachers if you don't feel like you are the right one? Are you willing to reach out for help even if you're the most private of people? Even when it's the most uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. Are you willing to sit in the uncomfortable? Are you willing to do uncomfortable things? Because you will have to if you bring in a child into your family that is of a different race than you are. So are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to have tough conversations? All of a sudden, your conversations and what you think might be a tough conversation today may be the difference between life and death for your child. I hate that our world has come to that, but in some instances it has. And so the conversations that we sometimes need to have with our children of a different race are crucial, hard conversations. Are you willing to have those tough conversations and learn what those are? Are you willing, if you are a white parent, to check your privilege, to learn what white privilege means, to check in with your own biases? Are you willing to do that and admit to yourself what biases you have, what privileges you have, and what you need to do about that as a white parent to a child of a different color skin? That's a big one, especially in our world today. How will you teach your child about their culture? And that goes back to, are you willing to reach out to other people who may be a better teacher than you are? Learning about your child's culture, ethnicity, race, identity, however we distinguish that, is really important, and it takes time, and it takes effort to really learn and immerse yourself in what your child's experience may be, because we'll never know. So how can we best teach your child and also teach yourself? Are you willing to learn yourself? Because it's not enough to just say, all right, so I have a child of a different race. Sure, I'll put them into all sorts of scenarios where they have mirrors and they can be taught. But are you willing to do that yourself and to learn? Now, I will say, I have my child in a Spanish immersion class, and I do not know Spanish. I'm not sure I ever will. But I will and have been continuing to learn about the Spanish culture and Spanish traditions, and we bring that into our daily lives in different ways. So are you willing to do that? You know, when I adopted my son, I'm white, he's Hispanic, I was pretty oblivious and ignorant. Not oblivious to him being of a different race, but I was ignorant in the fact that I probably should do some of this research and think some of these ask myself some of these hard questions before I adopt transracially. But frankly, nobody brought it up to me, and it didn't dawn on me. Ignorance. Is ignorance bliss? Perhaps it is, but maybe ignorance is only bliss if you know you're somebody who is willing to do whatever it takes as you learn along the way. Being open to being open and continuing to push yourself even when it's uncomfortable. If you know that about yourself, then maybe it is. But you have to know that you are willing to push yourself out of your own comfort zone, because likely that's what your child's daily experience is going to be when you adopt transracially. So don't take it lightly. Sit back and really think about these things. Now, I also don't want to talk you out of it, because while transracial adoption's unfortunately never going to go away. We need more people of color to be adopting. That's just a fact. But because that's not the case right now, and because there's always going to be children of color who need to be adopted and don't have families out there that look like them to adopt, we need you. We need people to be able to do the hard work and be willing to do the hard work to adopt transracially. But don't go into it totally blind. Either know that you are willing to do whatever it takes, no matter what child is brought into your life, and to make hard decisions, or do the hard research now and make some of those transitions in your life before you go through the adoption process. Just some food for thought. There's so many layers around adoption. I just hit the surface of some. I would welcome any questions that you have about the domestic adoption process in general. But if you have questions more specifically about transracial adoption, or want to hear more from me, or need some resources sent to you, I am here for you. I'm happy to do that. Thank you for joining me today.